past midnight, and Ryan is still at the kitchen table. Bills spread out under the light. When he looks up and sees his daughter standing in the doorway, watching him the exact same way he used to watch his own parents. And that's when it hits him. The real inheritance was never going to be a number in an account. It's whether she starts from zero or from a foundation. One small decision tonight decides which one it is. By the end of this, you'll see why the parents who leave behind the least money often pass on the most wealth, and why almost no one figures it out in time. If that idea unsettles you a little, subscribing helps me keep making these. Ryan is 36. He works in IT, makes a steady $75,000 a year, and has one daughter he'd do anything for. He's not broke. That's the thing people miss. He's fine, and fine is exactly what makes this so easy to miss. He grew up watching his parents argue about money at a table just like this one. And somewhere along the way, he promised himself it would be different for him. And in a lot of ways, it is. He earns 3 times what his father ever did. But the tightness in his stomach when he opens his banking app, that feeling hasn't changed at all since he was a kid. So the question that actually matters isn't how much he makes. It's whether he's really breaking a cycle he grew up in or just repeating it in a nicer house. But to know whether you're actually breaking the cycle, you have to see the cycle clearly first, and it's far sneakier than a low salary. On paper, Ryan does everything right. He pays every bill on time. He doesn't gamble, doesn't overspend on things he can't explain, even manages to put a little aside most months, and yet nothing ever seems to move. That's because this was never really about being irresponsible. It's about being stuck in survival mode. Money comes in, and life quietly eats all of it. Rent, the car payment, daycare. A little something to feel normal again, until the account is back near zero, and the whole cycle starts over. Nothing is compounding. Nothing is building. He's sprinting flat out on a treadmill that never actually moves him forward. And here's the part that's harder to admit. This is exactly what he was taught. Not with words, but with years of watching. His parents showed him, through their own actions, that money was something you used to survive the day, not something you build with. He absorbed the whole emotional script that came with it. Spend to feel a little better. Avoid looking at the number. Let money mean stress. Because that's all it ever meant at home. And now, without either of them saying a word, Maya is learning that same script the only way children ever learn it, by watching him. This was never just a money problem. It's inherited behavior, quietly passing down to the next generation before anyone even notices it's happening. And loops that feel harmless have a habit of showing their real price only when it's almost too late to change them. Fast forward this loop a few decades, and the price of fine starts to show itself. If nothing changes, Ryan retires just barely in time if he retires at all. And somewhere down the line, he ends up leaning on Maya for support in his old age. That's the exact thing he swore he'd never do. The exact thing he watched happen to his own parents. But here's the part that's even harder to sit with. Maya doesn't inherit a foundation from him. She inherits his starting line zero, plus the same anxious relationship with money that came with it. She'll spend her 20s and 30s doing exactly what he's doing right now. Treading water, not because she isn't capable, but because no one ever handed her a head start, and no one ever handed her a different script to follow. The cycle doesn't just continue. It compounds in the wrong direction. Every generation, starting over from zero, losing the exact decades compounding needs most to work. And the real cost was never just his own tight retirement. It's handing his daughter that same 40-year delay. That's the actual bill here. And it doesn't land on him. It lands on someone he loves. But here's the part no one tells you. The thing that actually breaks this cycle isn't the number in your account. It's something most parents completely misunderstand. Most people hear build wealth for your kids and picture one thing, a big inheritance, a large sum handed over one day. But there are two truths hiding underneath that idea. The first is that money handed down as a lump sum on its own usually gets spent. It arrives with no foundation underneath it, so it rarely survives into the next generation. The second truth is the one that actually matters. What really compounds across generations was never the cash itself. It's the foundation. Starting from something instead of starting from zero. Money habits a child watches modeled instead of just talked about. Understanding that gets passed down like a language, and decades of compounding that get to begin one full generation earlier than they otherwise would have. This is what it actually means to build something that keeps living. You're not stacking up a pile of money to hand over and watch disappear. You're building something with structure, something that keeps going long after you're not the one holding it up. Picture two different paths. In one, a parent leaves their child a lump sum the day they pass away. In the other, that same parent starts something small and steady while the child is young, modest, unremarkable amounts, and spends years explaining why they're doing it. This is just an illustrative example to help you understand the power of long-term compounding. Your actual results will depend on your income, expenses, returns, and investment choices. But the pattern holds. Either way, the foundation almost always wins over the lump sum. Not because the number is bigger, but because time gets to do the heaviest lifting. And because the child actually learns how to keep it going instead of just receiving it. Which means the real inheritance was never a pile of money. It's a starting line. And the most powerful thing Ryan can leave Maya barely costs him anything tonight. It's changing the script she's watching him live out and starting the compounding clock one generation earlier than anyone ever started it for him. And once you see wealth this way, the decision in front of you stops being about money at all. It becomes about who your kid gets to be. So Ryan starts changing things. Not with some dramatic overhaul, just a few small, unglamorous shifts. He starts opening the banking app with Maya sitting next to him instead of hiding it away, turning money from a private stress he carries alone into just another normal conversation at the table. He sets up a small automatic transfer into something that can actually compound, so it happens on its own, without needing willpower he doesn't always have on a given day. He opens a small long-term account tied to her future. And just as important, he starts explaining the why behind it as she gets old enough to understand. He's rewriting the script at the very same table where he first learned the old one. Same table. Different scene playing out on it now. This was never about the size of the number. What matters is that the direction has finally reversed. The foundation is starting to get laid. He's not leaving his daughter a pile of money. He's leaving her a starting line and a script that says money is something you build with, not just something you survive. Same kitchen table. But this time, Maya is watching a different scene play out. And that's really what this was always about. What you're actually building was never the number. It's whether the cycle finally ends with you, something you leave behind that keeps on living. So here's my question for you. What money script did you inherit from the people who raised you? And are you passing it on or rewriting it? Tell me in the comments. And if you want more videos that look at money this way, subscribe. The next one's already coming.